The sound is not a promise of food, it is a promise of being eaten. It is a chorus of whooping, maniacal laughter that echoes across the moonlit savannah, a sound that crawls under the skin and turns the blood to ice. They are a small family of Australopithecus, 5 of them, caught in the open between a dry riverbed and the distant silhouette of a familiar copse of acacia trees. They are the in-between people, a species with long arms for the trees and clever hands for the stones. But their legs are too short for a true run, their teeth too blunt for a true fight. They are a walking compromise in a world that has no room for it, and they are being hunted. Their stalkers are not the great saber-tooths, who kill with a swift and terrible grace. Their stalkers are the Dinocrocuta, the giant hyenas of this ancient world. These are not the scavengers of the far future, but titans of the hunt, pack animals with shoulders as high as a man's chest and jaws that treat femurs like kindling. The laughter is their language, a complex series of calls they use to coordinate, to encircle, to drive their chosen prey into exhaustion and despair. They have chosen this small family. They have chosen them because they are slow, because they are weak, because their bones are thin and easy to crack. In the brutal ecology of this prehistoric landscape, these hominids are not yet the great hunters. They are the perfect prey. Dira, the matriarch of the small family, keeps her 2 young ones close, her knuckles brushing the dry grass. Her mate Kale walks slightly ahead, a heavy branch held in his hand, a useless talisman against the coming storm. They do not run. To run is to trigger the final, frenzied chase. They walk, a tight knot of fear, trying to project a confidence they do not feel. They can see the hunters now. Dark, powerful shapes that move in and out of the long shadows, their eyes reflecting the moonlight. There are 4 of them, a small but efficient team. One breaks away, trotting into the open to their left, drawing their attention. It is a feint, as their heads turn to more emerge from a patch of tall grass to their right, cutting off their angle to the trees. They are being herded. The trees are so close. 100 paces, an impossible distance. The hyenas begin to close the circle, their laughter turning to a series of low, excited growls. They are done playing. Kale knows this. He sees the finality in the tightening circle, in the way the leader lowers its massive head. He makes a choice born not of strategy, but of love. He shoves Zara and the young ones toward the trees with a sharp cry, a sound of command and farewell. Then he turns, a small, defiant figure, against the 4 advancing monsters, and charges, swinging his branch in a desperate, hopeless act of sacrifice. The pack does not hesitate. They flow around his pathetic charge like water around a stone. The mid Dinocrocuta, they meets him not with a snap, but with the full force of its body. The impact is a collision of bone and inevitability. He goes down without a sound. Zara, forcing the young ones ahead, does not look back. She cannot. She cannot hear the wet crunch of bone, the sound that is swallowed by the triumphant, whooping laughter of the pack as they fall upon their prize. She and the children scramble into the high, thorny branches of the first acacia just as the hyenas turn their attention back to them. Below, the pack settles into wait, their bloody muzzles turned up towards the terrified survivors. They have learned the language of the laughter that steals the night. It is the sound of their family being torn apart. The sun rises on a world made of teeth. Zara and her 2 young cling to the high branches of the acacia, their small, furred bodies dark against the pale morning sky. Below, the pack waits. The night's frenzied excitement has passed, replaced by an arrogant, patient silence. This is their true power. Not the charge, not the chase, but the siege. They know their prey cannot stay in the tree forever. Thirst will drive them down. Hunger will drive them down. Despair will drive them down. The large alpha male settles into the shade, its massive head resting on its paws, its eyes never leaving the tree. They are prisoners of the sky, held captive by the lords of the earth. Midday brings a new horror. 2 of the hyenas trot back to the smeared, bloody patch of grass where Kale died. They return carrying pieces of him. It is a lesson in the brutal, practical science of taphonomy. They bring the gnawed, splintered shaft of his femur, the curved cage of his ribs, the hollow vessel of his skull. They bring them to the base of the tree and begin to crack them open for the marrow, the sound of their bone-crushing jaws echoing in the still air. They are erasing him. Zyra watches this with a face that has become a mask of stone. She sees not just the end of her mate, but the mechanical process of her own species' destruction. She sees their future, scattered in white, essence-bleached fragments on the savannah floor. This terrible display is a catalyst. Her grief, a paralyzing weight, crystallizes into a cold, diamond-hard resolve. Her eyes, which had been fixed on the monsters below, now lift, scanning the horizon. She is not looking for escape. She is looking for a better cage. And she sees it. A quarter-mile away, there is a massive, solitary thorn bush, a tangled, ancient monstrosity as large as a hut. Its branches a dense, impenetrable web of hooked daggers. It is a natural fortress, a place where the hyena's bulk would be a liability, where they could not circle or charge. It is a place to make a stand. Her foresight is a desperate gamble, a choice between a slow death he run to possible, very fast death in the open space between. She makes the plan in silence, communicating with her eldest child through gestures and urgent expressions. She points to the bush. She mimes a fast, low run. She points to the sun, indicating they will move when it is at its hottest, when the hyenas are at their laziest. It is a thin thread of a chance, but it is the only one they have. When the moment comes, they do not hesitate. They descend the tree in a silent rush and drop to the ground. The dash is a blur of pumping limbs and panic. Shallow breaths. The hyenas, caught by surprise, are on their feet in an instant, their lazy patience exploding into a chorus of excited whoops. The chase is on. Zyra can hear the heavy, padding footfalls behind them, feel the vibration in the earth. She does not look back. She focuses only on the dark, tangled shape of the thorn bush, a sanctuary of pain. They dive into it, the thorns tearing at their fur and skin, just as the alpha's jaws snap shut on the empty air where her youngest child had been a heartbeat before. They are inside. The hyenas circle their new prison, snarling in frustration, unable to breach the thorny walls. Zyra and her children are bleeding from 100 small cuts, but they are alive. That evening, under the cold light of the moon, Zyra risks everything. She slips out of the fortress and creeps back to the acacia tree. The hyenas, confident their prey is trapped, have grown careless. She finds what she is looking for, a long sharp shard from Kayle's shattered dolna. She brings it back to the thorn bush. By the moonlight, as her children sleep, she begins to scrape its broken end against a piece of flint. It is the beginning of their new technology, their osteodontokeratic answer. She is not just sharpening a bone, she is sharpening her grief into a weapon. The siege is a battle of attrition, a slow-motion war fought with thirst and patience. For 3 days, the thorn bush is their world. By day, the sun is a merciless hammer. By night, the moon illuminates the circling shapes of their jailers. The young ones are weak. Their whimpers are constant, dangerous temptation for the pack. Zyra doles out the last of their scavenged moisture-rich roots, but it is not enough. The Dinocrocuta are experts at this waiting game. The alpha, a scarred veteran with one tournier, tests the perimeter constantly, its massive body pushing against the thorns, testing for weakness. Zyra knows this cannot end in a stalemate. The hyena's patience is deeper than their own endurance. Her hands are raw, but she does not stop her work. She and her eldest child, a young female named Delu, have created an arsenal of desperation. Using the flint she retrieved, they have sharpened 3 long splinters of Kayle's bones into vicious, if brittle points. This is their osteodontokeratic technology, the first weapons born not for the hunt, but for defense. Their community is now a team of 2, a mother and daughter bonded by grief and a shared, silent purpose. Zyra's act of altruism is not just to protect her young, but to empower them. She shows Elu how to hold the bone spear, how to find the strongest grip, how to aim for the soft places, the eye, the nose, the throat. On the 3rd night, the alpha grows impatient. It has found a place where the thorns are older, more brittle. It begins to tear at the branches with its powerful jaws, the sharp snap of wood echoing in the quiet night. A gap is opening. The time for waiting is over. Zyra gestures to Elu, their movement swift and certain in the dim light. They climb, moving up through the interior of the thorn bush, finding purchase on the thick, tangled limbs. They position themselves directly above the widening gap, two small, desperate figures looking down at the monster that is tearing its way into their home. The alpha shoves its massive head and shoulders through the thorns, its jaws snapping, its hot, foul breath washing over them. It is a moment of pure primal fear. But fear has become their fuel. As the beast's head emerges into the small clearing inside the bush, Zyra and Dlu act as one. They do not throw the spears, they thrust, driving them downward with all of their combined weight. Dlu's spear strikes the alpha's broad, sensitive muzzle. Elos finds purchase in the thick muscle of its shoulder. They are not killing blows. They are not killing blows. They are lessons. The alpha's roar is not one of fury, but of shocked, agonizing pain. It recoils with a violent thrash, the bone spear in its muzzle snapping off, leaving a deep, bleeding wound. It yelps, a sound of surprise and humiliation, and scrambles back from the bush, shaking its great head. The other hyenas, drawn by the commotion, fall silent. They see their leader, the unassailable titan, bleeding and whimpering, defeated not by a great beast, but by the small, clever things in the thorns. The alpha looks back at the bush, its eyes no longer holding the confidence of a hunter, but the wary confusion of an animal that has just learned a new and painful lesson. It lets out a low, sea-huffing call, a sound of retreat. The pack turns and melts back into the shadows of the savannah. The laughter is gone. They have learned the core lesson of behavioral ecology. Some prey is not worth the price. Zyra and her children do not move until the sun rises, listening to the silence, the most beautiful sound in the world. They did not win a war, but a single crucial battle in the long, brutal campaign of human evolution. Huddled in their fortress of thorns, they had demonstrated a truth that would become the cornerstone of our species and likely ascent, that the weak, when united by intelligence and purpose, can teach the strong to fear them. Zyra's sharpened bone was more than a weapon. It was a declaration. It was a line drawn on the earth, a statement that her family would not be erased, would not become just another data point in the taxonomy of a predator's den. This was the moment our ancestors stopped being merely reactive, proactive survivors. They learned that the world was not divided simply into the eaters and the eaten, but that there was a third category, the ones who were too damn difficult to kill. And in that category, humanity would build its kingdom. The first border was not a river or a mountain, but the reach of a desperate mother's spear. And from the high branches of the forest, a different kind of ancestor was watching the world below, learning the art of the long view.